I find it very frustrating that we are engaging in a conversation about the Iran-Israel war with the unit of analysis being Iran's nuclear program. Iran nuclear program has very little, if anything, to do with this. Why? Because Netanyahu has been saying that Iran is about to produce nuclear weapons as early as 1992. So here we are looking at something around 35 years. If Iran was actually about to produce such nukes 35 years ago, then most likely they have already produced it decades ago. But Iran clearly doesn't want to have nukes. Iran clearly is not interested in nuclear weapons. What Iran is interested in is to ensure that Israel does not become the only hegemon in the Middle East, and that the United States and Israel do not end up controlling this vast area of hundreds of millions of people with tons of resources, natural resources, oil and gas, and strategic location. It is a war that Israel is launching, not only against Iran, but also against Lebanon, against Yemen, against the Palestinians. I mean, how can we forget about the genocide? And against anybody else who does not want to toe the line of war criminal Netanyahu. So let's please change the center of that conversation, and instead of putting all the emphasis on Iran's nuclear program as if that was really the intention from the war. Let's just put it on something else. Let's put it on Israel as a hegemonic, murderous state that has killed tens of thousands of Palestinians in the matter of 600 days. This is where that conversation should belong. And let's also contextualize what is happening in Iran within what is happening in Gaza, what is happening in Lebanon. Netanyahu is under the impression that he has weakened Iran's allies in the region, and therefore the only remaining step is a decisive blow to the Iranian government itself. He has failed miserably. If any blow has happened, is what is taking place in Israel itself, in Tel Aviv and the greater Tel Aviv area, in Haifa, in Beersheba, so-called Beersheba, and so forth and so on. And this is why he is whining and crying, and they are begging the Americans to get involved. But even if the Americans get involved, what can they do? I mean, what is it that they produce in Iran, in Iraq, after 2003, aside from chaos, perpetual war, the rise of ISIS, the rise of terrorism, the toppling of governments that really did not bode very well for the Americans and their need to stabilize the Middle East for economic gain? You're going to try to use old tactics against a country that is several times the size of Iraq, much more stable, produces its own weapons, has major allies in the region, at a time that neither the Middle East nor the world has Netanyahu's appetite for perpetual war. It would be a huge mistake. Not only it will end Trump's legacy from the very start, but it will also embroil the United States into an endless war that is not going to bring any good news for the Americans and their need to hegemonize the region. Think about this so very carefully. Iran will not lose this.